Hi, everyone. My name is Holly Suso, and I am the artist behind Yarn Geek Boutique.
And my name is Mariah Stanford, and I am a knitter. You can find me online. I'm at mariahknits.com, actually. I have an Instagram, Mariah Knits, and on Ravelry, I'm Mar, M-A-R-R Knits.
Hi, Mariah.
Hi, Holly.
So I wanted to start our very first podcast by just giving you some introductions. We wanted to talk about who we are and where you can find more Yarn Geek Boutique. And so I just wanted to start off by telling you a little bit about me. Is that okay, Mariah?
That sounds fantastic.
All right. So I started Yarn Geek Boutique almost on a dare, really. I had just learned how to knit. This is about 5 years ago. I had just learned how to knit, and because I was learning, I wanted to start a meetup group. And so I started a meetup group, and the first time that, after I figured out meetup, the first time that we met, or I should say our first meeting, I set it to this little coffee shop and I set up my meeting and everything. I went over there and I sat down and no one showed up.
Oh, gosh.
Well, you know what I had done? I forgot to hit promote on the meeting. So no one came. And then, so I figured it out. And then the second time, people started coming, and then it grew really fast. And I live in Temecula, California, and there are no LYSs, no little yarn shops in our area, except for, we have the big box stores that I will not name. And we had them. So because I love yarn so much and I was picking up my knitting so quickly, some friends said, Holly, you should open a yarn shop. And I was dumb enough to listen. So
Or smart enough.
It was, I don't even know. I don't know if it was part smart, part dumb, part ambitious, part crazy, but it worked. Whatever it was, it worked. And so we started Yarn Geek Boutique, and we've been here for 5 years now.
Okay. Now, are you still like the only local yarn store?
We are. We're still the only local yarn shop here. I don't know why that is. It's so strange. I suppose the community wasn't patronizing those other yarn shops, but I know they were. I don't know. It's
Okay.
just a really weird thing,
Okay.
but good for me.
Well, and I'm out actually in North Wales, Pennsylvania, so I'm on the other side of the country. And you actually reached out to me because I had found your Facebook, and we've connected that way. And so I've actually never been to the shop, so I don't even know, because it's a little bit different than your typical brick and mortar shop.
It is.
What is it like to come to Yarn Geek?
It is. So when we first started, I actually have a full-time job. So I work in technology. That is my 9 to 5. And so I wanted something that could complement what I do, but not take over, because I wasn't ready to quit my permanent job. So I started a pop-up, and we meet a couple different places, and one of them is a shoe store. And I know that that sounds like a really weird combination, but it so worked because women come in, they're buying shoes, they see us knitting, they see the yarn that I've set up, and they start going, ooh, ah. And people either they know how to knit or crochet or do another yarn craft, or they want to learn.
Okay.
And we got so much interest just from being at that shoe store. So it was pretty cool.
Okay.
And then you can see some of the yarn behind me. I will see if I can turn. There's part of my shop there. And I started going to fairs.
Mhm.
And then people could also come into the shop, my home shop, and they could shop. And it was really cool because it was more of a one-on-one uh experience where a person would come in and they'd sit down, I'd give them a cup of coffee or a tea, and inevitably there'd be something that I baked for that day. And then we would just sit down and we would talk, and I would ask them, what kinds of projects are you looking for? And then based on that, I would say, okay, well, here's that yarn over there or this yarn over here that matches your project. And we kind of went from there.
Okay. Actually, so I've never experienced the yarn store that way. So that actually sounds really nice to come in, and I'm assuming they contact you ahead of time and say,
Yes.
"How can I come to the shop?" So it's almost like an appointment, almost like a therapy session.
It is. It's a one-on-one appointment, and it's very personalized. So I ask them a few questions when they call, what kinds of projects are they working on? I ask them what kind of yarns do they like to use, or something that what kind of skills do they have? And I've had people come and say, well, you know what, I really, really want to knit, but I don't know this skill.
Mhm.
And so I'll break out my needles, and we'll sit here on my sofa and do maybe an hour consultation where I'll show them how to knit, I'll show them how to cast on, I'll show them how to bind off, I'll show them how to do yarn overs. And I'll look at their pattern and see if I can see any gotchas. And I by no means I'm not a master knitter. So sometimes we have to figure it out together, but it is a one-on-one experience. And I've had a lot of really, really good feedback from that.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. And that makes me think then it makes a little more sense because we've been hanging out together virtually for the pandemic.
Yes,
Um, that makes a little more sense how you seem so driven and focused on community. You're always
yes,
seeming to find ways to try to create a community of people.
yes, yeah.
That makes a lot more sense based on the experience or the way your shop is set up to cater to people.
And it really was a community because I really believe in I love to do things for others. And so the women would come to the shop, and I know this is not unique, but we would really try to find something once per month where we would give back to the community. So, knitting for the homeless, or of course we did hats. We had a lady that came in, she was shopping for shoes, and she came in and she said, my baby, who everybody was oohing and awing over, is a heart patient. And this is a toddler, little girl. She's a heart patient, and she's had something like 11 surgeries.
Mm.
And so she told us the story of her daughter being a heart patient, and some of the other children and mothers that are
Mhm.
at the hospital, which is Sharp Rady's children. And so she asked us to do some hats, some NICU hats for the babies, the little heart patients there. So they were all red for heart. And they were all like this big because all of the babies are preemies. And we did 100 of those, and it was so awesome.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of
Well,
fun.
then, so there are many, I mean, so for those of us that aren't in California, in lovely California, there are many places for us to find Yarn Geek. So first, like it's a pretty well-established website that you
Yes.
can come to shop.
Yes. So we have Yarn Geek Boutique, and I'll tell you a little bit of a story about yarngeekboutique.com, because that was kind of interesting too. I told you before that I used to work in technology, and I had a friend in technology reach out to me and say, Holly, do you know any women of color that are business owners because we are doing this experiment at our company that where we are doing this whole marketing package for. And it's going to, we're interviewing several people, and then we're going to pick one winner. And that person, we're going to send photographers, we're going to send videographers, we're going to send somewhat interviewers, and we're going to come and we're going to do this whole package for you, marketing package. And do you know anybody? And I was like, me? She didn't even know. She did not know that I owned a business. She did not know that I had my yarn shop. We knew each other because I used to work with her as a graphic designer.
Okay.
No clue that I did this. So I said, well, I have a shop. Can I apply for it? She said, absolutely, you can. So she put my name in the hat. She told them about me and what I was doing. They called me the next day.
Holy cow.
And I was in the top 3. So they said, Holly, you're in the top 3. We're going to interview everybody again. And we're going to let you know at the end of the week who won. So I said, okay. They called me the next day and they said, Holly, you're the winner.
Oh, wow.
So they did exactly what I said. They sent a videographer. I worked with him for, I think he took probably 8 hours of footage.
Okay.
And then a photographer came and did. Now, mind you, if anybody has their own business, they know that hiring a videographer, hiring a photographer is super expensive.
Mhm.
They did all of this for me as their lab, as their experiment. And so he came, he videotaped my whole shop. He videotaped me doing knitting and crocheting and weaving and all of that. They interviewed me and they did this beautiful video. And so you can watch that video. It's on YouTube.
So I was gonna say, I think I watched it. We should put a link then.
Yes, I will definitely put a link.
Okay.
It's on YouTube. And of course, you can find my business at Yarn Geek Boutique.
I'm gonna make a note.
Yes. And then you can, of course, find us on all the other social media platforms, Instagram. You can find us on Facebook with the same at Yarn Geek Boutique, one word, and you'll find us there.
And then we just started a Discord server.
Yes.
So we can put a link for that as well. We'll put a link for all the ways to get to Yarn Geek. And I'm actually really enjoying it. There's some really good benefits if you haven't used Discord.
Yeah.
It was really developed for gamers. So a lot of gamers get on there. We use it all the time, but it's a fantastic place to really have a specific community. So, and you had pointed out, like on Facebook, you could post pictures of your knitting, but you might be worried about someone seeing it.
Right. If you're making it for a friend.
Yes.
They won't see it on Discord.
But then if you are in the mood just to talk knitting or ask questions about, or any sort of craft, you've got to kind of shuffle through the noise on Facebook or even Instagram. Right. And my Instagram feed is fairly curated, but I still see other stuff that I don't want. But the Discord is perfect. It's just the crafting community. And it's a lot of people who know about Yarn Geek, but we're getting a lot of new people coming in. And
it is. There are a lot of new people. I'm super excited about that because I'm like, where'd that person come from? Yeah. So it's really cool. And I like the privacy of it, because on Facebook, obviously, you post a picture of Facebook on Facebook and not necessarily people who are interested in your craft see it. And also there's less distractions. You don't have the advertisements. And then it's that community. It's all of us getting together, cultivating relationships and sharing our arts. And I want to be super clear that it's not limited to knitting. We have knitters, crocheters, weavers, spinners. We have people that make rugs, rug punch, needlework, anything that has to
We're
do with
makers.
fiber.
Yeah.
Yes, we're makers.
And I think
and fiber artists.
that's something that I know I have, and I know you do as well. We've been really trying to be more inclusive in our
Yes,
wording, even when it comes to makers, because it's
yes,
not just knitting.
right.
And even so on the website, you also have the blog, which
Yes,
that's where I come in. That's what I've been writing. And it's very challenging because I am just a knitter. I know
right.
you crochet, Holly.
Yeah,
Um, I've tried crochet, and the whole time I was like, I just rather be knitting right now. So, but that's okay. But it's really hard to change the language to say maker and crafter,
right,
or if I say knitting,
right,
also say crochet or cross stitch, or
right.
try to come up with other types of crafts to include people. So it's
Yeah.
been challenging but fun to make everyone feel welcome.
You know what I think is crazy is when you're looking for patterns, except for on Ravelry, but when you go to another website, it's so hard to find really cool cr- uh, uh, crochet patterns, right? Because I can find so many knit patterns, and in fact, that's the reason why I learned how to knit, was because my mother and my son had gotten me a crochet kit, which I had asked for Christmas, and I just wanted a hobby. I wanted something because my son is growing up, and he doesn't need me as much, and so I wanted my own thing, and so I asked for a crochet kit, and I taught myself how to crochet. But whenever I was looking for beautiful patterns of something that I could wear, it was really hard for me to find them. This was pre-Ravelry, so things have changed a little bit. But before I was introduced to Ravelry, I couldn't find crochet. And so I started knitting, and that's how I got into knitting. But I really wanted to create a place where if you love crochet, or if you want to learn crochet, or if you want to learn rug hooking, or if you wanted to learn weaving, or if you wanted to learn embroidery. I love embroidery. I'm not good at it,
Beautiful.
but I
No,
love
I'm not an embroiderer, but it's beautiful.
that you could come to our community and experiment with all of those things, and hopefully find somebody within that community that could help you. So we
Absolutely.
try really, really hard with your blog, and with the things that I do. Hopefully we make it equitable and inclusive for people who are just fiber artists in general.
Absolutely. I love it.
Yeah, so I really love the dynamic of your blog. Your blog has really brought a really nice supplement to our website. And I think my favorite thing is Mindful Monday. You want to tell us a little bit about Mindful Monday?
Yes. So I had actually started my own blog in the beginning of, was that this year? Yes. And then you found me and you wanted me to write for your blog, which is perfect because
Mhm.
I was just kind of playing with it and starting out. And I was doing, I think Monday affirmations. So part of what I had started doing for the past couple of years is daily gratitude writing and coming up with affirmations. I actually have stuff up on my desk, stuff that someone has written to me, a card that says nice things to read, and to encourage me and just be positive and almost be selfish and think about myself and what I need to hear,
Yeah.
because not everyone is necessarily going to say it to me. So I was trying to coincide that with my knitting, because my knitting is a huge part of how I, you know, calm myself down, spend, time for myself, my mental health. It's so important to me. It helps calm me. So when we talked, we wanted to change the name a little bit. Instead of just the affirmation, we liked the sound of mindful making,
Yeah.
which was perfect because we're using that making and including everybody. So yeah, what I try to do is come up with posts that my hope is that someone will read it and then they can sit down with their craft and think about the things that I wrote about. I try to give sometimes some advice on what to do, like breathing techniques during your making. Other times, and the one post, it wasn't as uplifting, but it was honest, and you and I even talked a bit about our mental health and how our making helps with that. And I think that's important to talk about and be open about. Because the other piece too is we're not always happy and put together, and
Right.
everything isn't always great, and that's what
That's
it looks
right.
like on social media sometimes. So I think it's good to be honest so everyone can feel open to talk about it.
Absolutely. So we're going to pause right here because my battery is going to die. I'm going to hit pause, hopefully, and then
All right. So if you are interested in reading our blog, you can find it on yarngeekboutique.com, and the blog is up there. So it's not a consistent every week thing. I'm trying to make sure something gets posted every other week. So we have the Making Mondays and Mindful Mondays, Mindful
mindful Monday
Mindful
and
Mondays,
Whip Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
That's right. That's right. All right, cool. So Mariah, tell me, what are you wearing?
So I put on, this is actually the first like significant piece of clothing I ever made for myself. It is the Scallops and Bacon tank by Nicole Montgomery. And I'll show you, this is where it's supposed to look like, I guess.
Oh, I like the bodice. That's real pretty.
Yeah. And then the bottom part has some
Ooh.
work in there. And it was supposed, so this was my first, supposed to be a tank top. I wear it as like a dress because I was learning about negative ease, positive ease, and it has now just the drape and the length of this. I think when I made the pattern, I was worried that it would be too short. Yeah. And I didn't really, I was like, I'm just going to keep going. I have plenty of yarn, and yeah, it works.
So you were playing yarn chicken.
Well, I had plenty of yarn.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I'll just keep knitting and make it longer because I like a longer shirt.
Yeah.
Now it's turned into a dress.
Well, I do too. I like doing the top to bottom knit.
And this was
because I want to be able to stop when it's hit the place that I want it to hit. Yeah. Because I for those of us that have curves, I don't want it to look like a crop top because that's not cute. And
a lot of people are doing the crop tops. There are a lot of crop tops, and I'm just not here for it.
Wear it, that's fantastic. But trust me when I tell you, you don't want to see me in a crop top. That's for real. So what I'm wearing, I'll show you what I'm wearing, is I cannot find the pattern for this, but I will find it and I will send it to you. So this is a shawl that I did, and it is featuring Sweet Georgia yarn, and it's asymmetrical. It's really beautiful. I absolutely love their yarn, which is actually, I can get some. It's here in my shop, and it's right here. And this yarn is now let's see if I can wear it without my glasses. This yarn is 80% merino wool and it's 20% nylon. So technically this is a sock yarn and it's called Tough Love Sock. But it makes the most fabulous shawls.
Yeah.
I love the drape of it. You know, it's very drapey, if that's a word. And it's for me because I live in California. It's not too hot, you know. I mean, it's still wool. It's still 80% wool, but it's fairly light.
Right. It looks very light and airy.
Yeah.
It looks like something that's especially would be nice when you go into a building where maybe there's air conditioning.
Yeah, well, it has to have air conditioning, yes, because
Right.
where I live in Southern California and it gets quite hot here. It was, I think, 103 on Monday. And so without AC, I would never wear this. I wouldn't wear it outside.
Right.
But when I go to the wineries and the sun starts to go down and it's getting a little cooler, then having something like this to throw over my shoulders is really nice.
Yeah, but not too heavy. So that's
Not
perfect.
too heavy. Exactly.
Yeah.
So do you have any whips going on, Mariah?
I do. So I have been working on the monochrome cardigan. So this is some of the yarn. You can also get this in Holly's shop.
Yes.
And it's a fingering hand-dyed extra fine merino. And I've really been enjoying knitting with it. And it is a gray, like a slate gray color, but it goes to a lighter gray and then to a really dark, not really black, but close. So it's been kind of fun to work with. And I have, so the way this cardigan works, you actually knit the stole first.
Oh, nice.
So like, or the collar it's calling, but it almost looks like a stole. So it comes all the way down. And then you are, along the stole, you're picking up and knitting.
Oh, wow. So it's gonna, ooh, yes, that's gonna be so pretty.
So then you cast off where the armhole is where I am right now on this side is finished.
I love the patterning on the side.
It really comes out very nice. And it's like a 8-row pattern. So you've got your stockinette and then it does a pattern, a little rib of garter in there. So it's
that
is
nice. Neat.
It's
that
quite
is pretty.
And I am making the largest size because I've got a lot of yarn. And I also think you're gonna love it, Holly, because it's very light as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's gonna come out very nice.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Fantastic. Well, I am knitting something that is really kind of cool and unique. I'll share this with you. And I'm just binding off. So even though this is a whip today, it's going to be a finished object.
All right. Oh my gosh, those colors.
Look at that. Is that incredible?
It's amazing.
I absolutely love this. So what this is, and this is so exciting, is there is a maker who actually made this for us. And I will post the link to her and the yarn in our shop. But this is the yarn, and I'm sorry I don't have a whole skein in front of me, but this is the yarn that she made. So let me tell you the story behind this. Is my son and I are both Godzilla and King Kong fans, except for we are rivals. Because I am on the best team, which is King Kong, Team Kong. And he is on the loser team, which is Godzilla. So, so I asked this maker if she would do 2 colors for us. One of them is called String Kong, and the other one is called Yarnzilla.
I have to ask Holly, who came up with those names?
I did.
That's
because,
awesome.
sometimes I've heard of people use those terms, but when you're particularly your dog, I have a pet pal who likes to get into my yarn, and she creates this beautiful artwork that I'm sure she appreciates.
Very proud of herself.
And she's very proud of herself. And it's on the floor and it's a mess. And we just refer to it as Yarnzilla, right? And so I thought, ooh, that kind of sounds like Godzilla. So I had someone like I said, I had her do String Kong and Yarnzilla. And then I also have pins, which you can see, I don't have them in front of me, but I have some stitch markers that have GVK on them, Godzilla versus Kong. Or actually it doesn't say GVK, but it's just a picture of Godzilla. And he's so cute. He's holding 2 knitting needles. And then String Kong is holding a crochet hook. And then the little stitch markers that are at the bottom. So we sell this as a kit. And if you want to go and get String Kong or Yarnzilla, you can get that. And then this pattern is by Stephen West. And this is the honey, what do you call that?
Honeycomb.
Honeycomb. Thank you. Honeycomb. I was going to say beehive. That's all right. Honeycomb pattern by Stephen West. So that's my whip for today.
That's really coming out great. Those colors, I know we were like going back and forth about the colors and go best, and it's just so much fun.
I love it. I love it.
So much fun.
With the slip stitches, it almost feels like double knitting, because this is really thick and scrunchy, and it's going to be really wonderful for the wintertime. I know I just told you that it's 103 last week, but I'm not wearing it right now. But in the wintertime, and this piece is actually going to be a cowl or a kind of a scarf. I'm going to close it up like that because it was supposed to be a shawl, but honestly, I'm getting tired of knitting this now. So I'm gonna, you know how that is, like you find something that you really, really love, and then you get part of the way through it, and you're like, can I be done now? So yeah, so this is good. That's it. This one's gonna be a scarf instead of a shawl. So that is it for us today. We really appreciate y'all listening in to our very first podcast of Yarn Geek Boutique. And don't forget that you can find us at yarngeekboutique.com. You can find us on Facebook groups at Yarn Geek Boutique. Yarn Geek Boutique, also on Instagram. And don't forget our Discord server, because that is a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs, and we would love for you to join us. We're going to put all of the information down below. Don't forget to follow us and sign and click that little bell so that you'll get notifications for us. Please hit our like button for our videos so that we know that somebody out there loves us. And we will talk to you again soon. Thanks so much, Mariah.
See you later.
All right.
Later.
Bye.
Bye. All right.